Hello, friends! I know that your head is probably spinning from the events happening around. I find painting without pressure being effective when it comes to meditation. During these hectic times, allow me to distract you for a moment and fill your day with beauty and inspiration. You can be an artist of your feelings for an hour. I came up with an idea of guided painting meditation to relax your mind and body while creating something beautiful. No special training needed. I'm going to share with you 3 simple but very effective techniques where the media will do most work for you. For a start, all you need is a set of watercolors, some brushes, and a sheet of watercolor paper. We are going to make a painting that will reveal itself. I invite you to explore your inner mind through the archetypical lens where universal archaic patterns and images derive from the collective conscious. Our task will be to rely on our intuition and instinct and to pick them up from the flow of paint on paper. Please feel free to pause at any time while you are setting up your place and gathering supplies. If you are ready to begin, I suggest you prepare a sheet of watercolor paper, a set of paints, a container with water, and some paper towels. Additionally, you can use ink, liners, perhaps white acrylic paint, various textures, materials like a rough brush, or even a chopstick. Last but not least, you can prepare a small amount of alcohol and table salt. If you don't have paints or ink, no worries. All good paints are using natural pigments that used to be made of plants and minerals. Strong steeped tea or coffee will serve you just fine, allowing you to create a monochromatic yet still absolutely gorgeous piece. To make your tea paint, pour 25 milliliters or 1 ounce of boiling water and let it get really strong. Both of these drinks will get you a rich, warm, and translucent coat. In this guided meditation, I'm going to refer to the watercolor pigments, but all techniques apply to tea and coffee just fine. Do you have everything you need? Make sure that you freed some space on your table for your painting meditation. You should be able to put your elbows on the table and be seated comfortably with all your materials on the side and above your sheet of paper. Take a deep breath. Breathe. Look at the white sheet. How does it make you feel? Perhaps you feel anxious about where to begin, or maybe you're excited to start. Maybe you're just listening to this meditation and only deciding that it is a good idea to dedicate an hour to your self-exploration. Seeing or imagining a white sheet is a very liberating experience. Imagine how many great people were sitting in a similar environment before they created something that affected plenty of us through culture and history. This particular moment, you are this person who is about to start something very exciting, because there is no idea or pressure of what we should complete in the end of this session. It is going to reveal itself. Let's allow the media and the paper to worry about it. You are prepared. Everything else is going to happen on its own. Now, I invite you to look at your paints and ask yourself, what colors reflect your mood at this particular moment? It can be blues and greens when you are in a search of peace and conscious calm. Or it can be reds and yellows, perhaps even pink or orange, if what you've been missing is a sense of festivity and joy. Purples, lilacs, and cooler pinks are usually to invite serenity to our space. You may want to work with monochromatic shades, and you will have a unique opportunity to focus on value and textures. Whichever media you have, you can express your mood with it, and I'm here to guide you through this process. So, are you ready? Watercolor loves water, so don't be afraid to add a good amount. Mix a generous amount of the color of your choice with some water on the palette. Now, with the biggest brush you have, create an impactful brush stroke on your sheet of paper. Think of the movement with your whole upper body. Relax your wrist and move your whole arm over the paper. May it be expressive. Make the stroke with no fear of paper. You can also add more paint where you feel it's needed. Just follow your instinct. As I mentioned before, here we are relying on our intuition. There is no right or wrong. We have already seen so much beauty, and its bits and pieces are encrypted in our memory. All we have to do is to access these areas of our conscious by letting all the pressure off. When you are happy with the way this stage looks, carefully pick up the sheet of the table, then tilt and shift it from side to side. Your page should have some areas with extra water that will begin to move around. Continue relying on your intuition. You can repeat it as many times as you wish. When you are happy with the way this stage looks, take another color that you feel good about and add more shapes. Make sure your paint has a good amount of water and flows well. While places with deeper color have not fully dried, you have a perfect moment to explore the first technique. We are going to blow these spots to achieve distinct and jewel-like details. Inhale, fill your lungs with some air. Now, rapidly blow at 45 degrees angle to the paper. For this technique to work well, you need to have the right amount of water and pigment on the page. If it is too much water, the lines will be too thick. If it's not enough water, it will be really hard to move the paint on the paper. In terms for the paint to move smoothly, make sure your metaphorical paddle on the paper is not too deep. The amount of water should be just right. Now, repeat it as many times as you wish until you are happy with the result. You can add more brush strokes or shapes by following your intuition. Use a corner of paper towel to pick up the excess of water. Perhaps you feel that your page gets too dark. In this case, you can go and smudge it with a folded paper towel. It will pick up some paint, but a light trace of your painting will remain upon which you can continue building your exploration. Of course, you can also leave it the way it is if you are happy with the overall look. The idea is to pick any path for your painting to evolve that feels good to you. The paper won't argue. Look at your page now. Do any of the shapes resemble something familiar to you? You can rotate the page, pick the side that is most pleasing to your aesthetics. Now keep painting. I'm going to share with you 2 remaining techniques. Do you think you have any darker large shapes on your page? There are a perfect spot for salt or alcohol technique. To test the alcohol technique with your brush, make a few drops of alcohol on the wet area of your painting. What happens is that alcohol evaporates faster than water and it pushes the pigment away, naturally and freshly. Now, allow it to dry. Salt technique creates a textured surface that resembles space, but in reality it can be anything you'll make it be. I suggest you try both and get amused by the results. Don't forget to allow your paint to dry. Now rotate your painting again and pick the side that looks best to you and look into the page with your eyes relaxed. What do you see? Is it some kind of landscape? Perhaps you see some faces or even figures. Now is the time to use a smaller brush and reveal the elements that spoke to you. Do you begin to see it? You can use liners, small brush, or pencils, practically any materials that you have at hand. Keep an eye on how your additions affect the areas around. You should feel free to go back to any of the previous stages or techniques. Just remember, there is no right or wrong. If the story is only half clear, it is still a story. This meditation is a training to unfold your imagination, and the longer it takes to, the more interesting the story it will tell you eventually. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this 15-minute guided art meditation. If you know someone who you think would enjoy it, please share it with them. And of course, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this experience.